I want the poi to soak up all that gravy. You know, I'm so happy that they've used the kingfish in this and not something like a basa which has no flavor. Hi folks, we're in South Goa at the Holiday Inn. Now I'm here on a holiday, wasn't planning any Gourmet on the Road shoot. But when I come to Goa, breakfast for me is a ritual. So when I come to Goa, breakfast for me is always a quintessential Goan affair. I'm looking forward to taste some delicious Goan traditional dishes for breakfast, and that's what I do always. So whenever I go into any hotel, I always request the chef to serve me those breakfast dishes. So what I'm going to do today in this vlog, I'm shooting this myself. Like I said, this wasn't planned. I'm here on a holiday. I'm going to share with you some of those Goan dishes that I really love. Hi Chef, how are you doing?
Good, sir.
So I'm here with Chef Anthony Vaz, and Anthony has been making this breakfast for me. So we will of course take a closer look, but these are some of the dishes that we have for breakfast. And so when I came in here, of course, you know, they have at the coffee shop, they have a buffet and they have one or two Goan dishes, but it's predominantly largely multi-cuisine, South Indian, North Indian and all of that. But I said I want to taste something Goan, and we've got a Goan spread for us right here.
So we are going to taste today the Goan Ros Omelette. So this is the normally what people eat for the breakfast in Goa.
Okay. That's a Ros Omelette right here.
Yes. This is a coconut based gravy with the omelette, sir.
And the gravy is what? It's a xacuti gravy?
It's a xacuti, sir. All the spices are roasted with the coconut, sir, and then made into the paste, sir.
Lovely. So that Ros Omelette is an interesting breakfast dish. So typically in homes, you have the gravy from the evening before, and then in the morning you make your omelette, and you then dunk that omelette in that gravy from the evening before. And I guess that gravy would have also absorbed all the spices, all that
Spices, sir,
masala.
and give it the more taste.
More taste, that's right. You know, when you come to Goa, you have to taste the poi, right?
Yes, sir.
So this poi is a
Locally baked in the wooden oven, sir.
in the wooden oven, and the bakers are called what? Potar.
Bakers are called the poders, sir. Famous in Goa. So they do their business early in the morning at 5 o'clock, sir.
And this bread is baked through the night.
Through the night, sir.
You know what's interesting is that every village has its own bakery,
Every village, sir.
has its own podar. So they're the ones who bake those breads, and then every morning I think the locals buy
the bread for their breakfast, sir.
So that bread in effect across the village, across the community, and that's the bread that binds together, that brings together all the food in different houses. So what else are we tasting, chef?
This is the Goan sausage chili fry. This also goes well with the bread, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the bean sprout xacuti, what we call the MOOGACHI GAATI.
MOOGACHI GAATI. Oh, that's a lovely sounding name. And what is there in this, chef?
This is also same the xacuti masala in that, and the bean sprout which are sprouted.
Ah, lovely. Here.
Then we have some fish croquettes.
So is this also a breakfast dish?
Normally people like to try, sir. So this is a new concept of people try.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. So thank you very much, chef, for, you know, obliging me with this beautiful Goan
Enjoy
breakfast.
your breakfast, sir.
Thank you very much, chef. So on that note, I'm going to get to the table and taste some of these Goan breakfast delicacies. And no prizes for guessing that I'm going to begin with the Ros Omelette. I just love this. You see this omelette? A nice fluffy omelette which is dunked in some xacuti gravy. The only way to taste this is to take some of that egg. You know, it's a nice masala omelette, so it's got some onions, it's got a bunch of things on it, in it actually, and it's garnished liberally with some onions and tomatoes. So the only way to eat this Ros Omelette, Ros means gravy or rasa or, you know, the juice, right? So this is the gravy, so you dunk the omelette into that gravy and you go for a nice mouthful. This is such a wonderful way to eat your egg. So the tradition is that, you know, homes would have the gravy from the previous evening. So that would be preserved, that would be kept aside. And in the morning, you make your eggs, and to give it that flavor burst, to give it that flavor oomph, you make your eggs, you make your omelette, and then you slather it over with some gravy. So I think the best way to taste this is to take that gravy and pour it liberally over that omelette till you don't even see that omelette, and then go for it. That is so tasty. It's such a flavorful, spicy way to have your eggs early in the morning. Now the other way to eat the Ros Omelette is with that POI. And I love the texture of this POI. So it's nice and dry. I love that dry texture. It's almost pillowy, and it's got this very spongy inside. So typically a POI is made with maida or flour and some wheat husk, which gives it that lovely texture that you feel. I'm going to take some of that POI and dunk it into that Ros Omelette. I want the POI to soak up all that gravy. Now this is the way to eat your eggs when you're in Goa. The Ros Omelette with some POI. Now there's another variation to the xacuti, and this is called the MOOGACHI GAATI. And this is basically a gravy which is made with bean sprouts. So if you're a vegetarian and you want the equivalent of the xacuti gravy for breakfast, ask for the MOOGACHI GAATI. That also goes very well with the POI. I love that crunchy texture of the beans. So it has this strong outside surface and this spongy inside. So it makes it perfect to mop up that gravy, and that crusty exterior prevents any of that gravy from seeping through. I love that wholesome crunch of the MOOGACHI GAATI. Or MOOGACHI GAATI, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Delicious though. I think next it's time to try the Goan Sausage chili fry. Now, sausages are a tradition here in Goa, as you would know. Of course, what goes into a sausage? It's the meat, it's the fat. Typically, it's pork meat, the meat, the fat, the spices, and the vinegar. And the vinegar helps preserve the sausage. So this variation is the Goan Sausage chili fry. So when you talk about chili, I think there are some green chilies, but there are also the peppers, the capsicum, and you've got some tomato, you've got some onions. And this dish I'm going to try with the bread. This is the POI and this is the bread or the pav. I'm going to taste the sausage first just by itself, just to taste all that flavor. You've got the meat, you've got some of the fat, you've got the tomatoes, you've got the onions. Oh, I love that gentle tartness of that vinegar. Now that vinegar has soaked up all the flavor from the fat, from the meat, and thereby transforming it from what you would taste to be very puckering in its acidity to a mellow, gentle, slightly sour sort of flavor. You know, that meat certainly has some bite. If you're in Goa, you have to have the Goan sausage. I think the bread, the sausage makes for such a happy bite. And this time with some POI. You know, I love the texture of this bread. It feels dry, but it's spongy inside. It's just the perfect way to mop up all that deliciousness of this sausage. Time now to try the fish croquettes as I bring my breakfast to a close. I suspect this dish traces its origin to the Portuguese influence on Goa. Let's take a look at what's inside the fish croquettes. Lovely. So this is made with kingfish, so I'm expecting it to have some bold flavors. And there is some green, so I'm told there's some coriander, there's some chili that goes into it, and also some eggs to help bind that together. You can see those flakes of the fish in this fish croquettes. You definitely taste the fish. You know, I'm so happy that they've used the kingfish in this and not something like a basa which has no flavor. Because that kingfish, although there is some binder in this, I think there's some potato in this that binds it together. That kingfish gives this fish croquettes that fish flavor. Because after all, you're tasting a fish croquettes and that's what you expect to taste. This is delicious. There's also some sauce here. I think this is a chili sauce of sorts that you can dip your fish croquettes in. This is a tangy, spicy sort of a sauce, but I just love the flavor of this fish croquette just by itself. What I also appreciate is that although it's fried, it's not oily to the touch at all. Although it's crumbed with some semolina. I love the flakiness of the fish interspersed with the greens from the coriander, from the chili.
So how's going everything? So good?
Everything is excellent, chef.
Okay.
You know what I really like is the fact that in this fish croquettes,
Yes.
you've used kingfish because that kingfish has its flavor. Yeah, and I just love this. You know, I got my Goan breakfast. I'm a happy man. Thank you so much, chef.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, chef.
Anything, just let us know, sir.
Thank you, chef.
Carry on.
Thank you very much, chef. So there you go. These are some of my favorite breakfast dishes to have when I'm in Goa. So the next time you're in Goa, do check out, do try the Ros Omelette, the Goan Sausage chili fry, the MOOGACHI GAATI, which is a xacuti gravy made with green sprouts, and of course that scrumptious fish croquettes. And don't forget the POI. This wasn't planned and therefore I have no crew. I'm shooting this entirely on my own, so I hope you enjoy this vlog. Until the next episode of Gourmet on the Road, stay safe and happy eating. At Food Lovers TV, my team and I work hard to produce engaging food and travel videos. If you like our work, do check out our Patreon page where you can pledge a nominal sum in lieu of special privileges like behind the scenes footage, early video release, exclusive Q&As, merch and much more. For more info, check out the link in the description below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, share, like and leave a comment here. Happy eating!